Hello, metalheads all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Horsemen podcast, episode 90. So we are 10 episodes away from 100 episodes. Hopefully, we can get to that point this year. But got a very special guest for y'all today, as for the first time ever, I have a member of FCK.FM on the show. And for those who don't know, it's a group of awesome women in metal that do modeling, but also do great articles for a magazine that I'm actually part of. I have my own article on there, but I am joined by one of my personal favorite models over there at FCK.FM and also a good friend of mine. Please welcome Nastya Firebird.
Hello,
How are you today?
I'm glad to see you.
How are you doing today?
I'm fine. You?
Could be better, but hey, I'm not going to say no to an opportunity to interview a friend on here. So for those who don't know, Nastya here, she's not only a model for FCK.FM, but she models for all sorts of different avenues and does amazing work. And I mean amazing work, like some of the most beautiful images anybody can witness. And also fellow metalhead too, which I always think is very important because music tastes always win me over. So yeah, we're both big metalheads. Granted, like she's more into like say bands like Lorna Shore, but also we both have a common bond of Metallica,
Metallica?
so that always wins me over. But so to kind of get this all started, we want to talk a little bit about your modeling career first before we dive into some music talk. But because you're just a few years my elder, how did you become interested in modeling at first?
Honestly, a friend of mine just asked me to be his model in leather, and I just said yes because why not?
So just as simple as that.
Yeah.
But how old were you when you first started?
I guess it was maybe 8 years ago. So I was 26.
Yes, yeah, I noticed like a lot of models that I've talked about, whether they be standard models or do the latex PVC leather thing, they kind of start off a little earlier, but it's always refreshing to hear wow, my voice just cracked horribly there. But excuse me. But wow, there it went again. Yeah, this is going to be a common thing with me. It's like sometimes my voice cracks because it's morning where I am, whereas with her it's afternoon or little bit afternoon, I think, if I got my time zones right. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like hearing when models start off a little bit later than most models, it's like people, I've talked to some people and they say that like, well, the later you start, the harder it is to get really into it. And I always found that to be a bad stereotype. Like to me, and I always say this to people, age is just a number, beauty is forever. And that's the way I look at it, especially those that get into modeling late and feel like, well, I'm not as young as so and so or whatever. So how can I compete with that? And I'm like, screw expectations, just do what you love. That's what I would say.
Exactly, because to be honest, I do modeling not for money, just for fun. That's why I don't care about my age, and I almost don't earn from modeling. So it's okay for me to be so
Yeah.
old.
You and I both. I mean, I'm only 31, but I feel like I'm 60 because of the shape I'm in, which I need to get back to working out, but I'm always at work, so it's hard, but that's beside the point yet again. But so yeah, we just got into right there a little bit of your early modeling, but I basically became known to you through seeing your modeling of like latex leather, PVC, and heels and whatnot. When did you start doing that?
8 years ago too. I mean,
So
my
it was all
modeling
at
career,
once.
yeah, it's like about always. was like this.
It just all came together at once in perfect harmony.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of different latex models on the show before who are also metalheads that I've shown you, like Zoe Page and my very good friend Stella Gray, who might be back on the show at some point. But like I always found it fascinating whenever I see latex models because it kind of gives them like this superhero or supervillain look, like Catwoman. I'd say the majority of where I think a lot of that came from was through like the 1992 Batman Returns movie with Michelle Pfeiffer in the Catwoman costume. And it's like it just spawned so much and it always surprises me too, like like I've talked to different models and like I would often ask like what music would you associate with this? And they would always say stuff like, pop or hip hop. And it always surprises me because I always felt, and I even mentioned this in the past with Zoe and Stella, that I always feel like PVC latex leather modeling, to me, that's more heavy metal based because it just looks so badass. Like it's so fitting for like a heavy metal imagery. But where do you stand on that? Do you think it's fitting in heavy metal personally?
I have lots of female friends who wear in latex for fun or doing shootings, and yeah, they like mostly technic music or pop music or R&B music, and almost no one likes metal. And yeah, in my opinion, latex and other stuff um, looks like metal, and people wearing it should listen metal to metal, but it doesn't work, unfortunately, like this.
Yeah, I always, excuse me, I always feel that, yeah, like latex leather PVC style clothing on women always to me go hand in hand with heavy metal, especially I would say like the old 80s glam scene, but also like gothic metal, especially if it's like black, it's so comes off as gothic. I mean, hell, I am wearing the Kings of Gothic Metal Typo Negative today, so
Mhm.
yeah, and of course, there's the other side of that style of modeling, which we won't go into, but which I'm all for that too. I'm all for any kind of latex modeling. It doesn't have to be, adult film oriented or anything like that. It could be anything you want it to be. It could be cosplay, which I always appreciate a good cosplay, especially of like Marvel superheroes, supervillain characters, even DC characters or hell, even like movie characters that may have rocked that outfit in the past or something like that. But to me, it's always one of the most beautiful things anyone could ever see. And of course, there's always a lot of people that will judge you on that, which I do wonder, like, whenever it comes to like people who might judge you based on the style that you wear, are you just one of those people kind of like me that's just like, they can say whatever they want. It ain't gonna affect me. I just move on with my life.
Um, People mostly judge me, especially in my country, because latex isn't common here. And um, I guess in Minsk, in the capital of my country, I'm the only one model who wearing latex. So I'm strange and unusual, especially
Hey,
when I go outside like this. It's kind
yeah,
of yeah.
yeah.
But
Which I
I'm
have seen. I have seen the photos and the videos, and I always wonder, like, how do people react? Like, I know if I react, I'd be on one hand curious and one hand intrigued. Like, she's pretty.
yeah. When I was in Switzerland and we made a shooting with a photographer and his girlfriend, people reacted. I guess strange for me because they just watching. They didn't say anything. They didn't judge me. Just watched and nothing more. In my country, it's different. especially guys react very strange sometimes.
I
But
mean,
I'm okay with
yeah,
it. The
yeah,
only thing I care about is I'm okay with it. So
yeah. But now that I brought up heavy metal, now that I feel is a perfect segue to get into a little bit of heavy metal talk. So, of course, we have talked about this before, but to the audience watching, how did you first get into rock music, metal music, so on and so forth?
hmm, it could sound funny, but the first metal band, so metal band I've heard was Prodigy.
I mean, they've
Not
played
a
with a lot of
metal,
metal bands. Yeah.
but kind of close to metal. And then it was Rammstein. I guess I was 6 when I first heard them, and it was amazing. It was kind of different world for me.
Yeah. Yeah, like how I got into metal was kind of a combination of like classic rock radio through my parents and then my two older brothers. My oldest one, rest in peace, he
Mhm.
got me into Metallica when I was 6, 7 years old. And as I say that, I just said the stupid meme, and I hate myself for it. But regardless, I mean, it's gonna be unavoidable when you're talking numbers, but regardless, so it started with Metallica, then I eventually found Avenged Sevenfold through a video game soundtrack, because I'm a big gamer guy, and then it just kept growing and growing, and then thankfully through having wireless internet here at home, since I've been living in this house for now 16 years. Oh my God. I feel old just saying that. But since finally having wireless internet and having access to YouTube and other avenues to discover bands, it just keeps growing. And then the big CD collection keeps growing too.
Yeah, it was a bit harder for me because I was born in USSR, and USSR was close to closed for another world, like
Hmm.
the whole world, and we had no music from the outside, and we had just our musicians and our rock music. And it was a very hard to hear something new, something from abroad.
Hmm.
So it was a bit later for me, I guess, than for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, like if my history is correct, I think the first time like outside bands managed to get to play in that part of the world was like 91, and that was AC/DC, Metallica, Pantera. I'm pretty certain that was that. It was like the Monsters of Rock festival, something like that in 91, and that was where like a 500,000 people were in
Mhm.
like some old abandoned airfield just jamming out to bands from mostly America, but also, of course, Australia with AC/DC. But and now it's like over time, it's like there have been more bands. Like in terms of bands from your country, you're from Belarus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know really any bands from Belarus that I would be familiar with. It's like mostly in that Slavic or Baltic part of Europe. It's like it's mostly Ukrainian bands or Russian
Mhm.
bands,
Mhm.
or you occasionally will get like Estonian bands, and like most of
Okay.
the
Maybe. Yeah.
yeah, or Poland. Yeah, Poland's probably the biggest one out of all of them. I mean, Vader,
Yeah.
Behemoth, Hate, Decapitated, Sphere, Migwa, Dorman Ordeal. Like, there's a lot of awesome Polish bands. So, yeah, I completely forgot Poland. But yeah, like one thing I definitely notice with, especially Polish bands, is this like idea of just playing as fast as humanly possible, like
Mhm.
Behemoth, especially Vader. I would say Vader's the big one where it's like they just play everything at Mach 10, like faster than thrash bands, even like faster than Slayer, which if you would have told me when I was a teenager that there were bands out there faster than Slayer, I would have looked at you like, are you
No
sure?
way.
No way there's bands faster than Slayer. And then the gates were open
By
in
the
terms
way,
of
I'm
death
wearing
metal.
T-shirt Slayer.
There you
Yeah.
go. But yeah, it's like after I got into thrash, the gates were open to discover death metal and grindcore, and then later on black metal, where it's like, how the hell do these guys play this fast but still sound audible? Because I would have thought back when I was first getting into metal that if you play past a certain speed, it's going to sound like garbage.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. But but us talking about our bond to Metallica, how did you first hear about Metallica?
My father was a big fan of Metallica, so I guess
Thank
I
you,
heard
Daddy.
them from my childhood, maybe when I was 2 or 3. So I have a good taste because of my father.
2 to 3 years old, and I didn't get into him until I was like 6. Believe it or not, when I was first into music, when I was a little baby, it was country music, and I'm here, am I thinking,
Oh, it's common for to America, I guess. It's okay. It's normal, especially for South, right? Yeah,
yeah,
I don't
even
know
though,
much about America, so.
I mean, I'm close to the South. I'm in the Midwest part of the country, and we're like one of the states that kind of
Um,
borders Canada. But I'm like literally like I'm trying to think of the general direction of because I go up the road like a mile to where I work, but like across the way is the Ohio River and Kentucky is just right there. So
mhm.
if I had to guess from like here to the Kentucky River, if say I flew over, it would probably be about 2 miles to Kentucky. So
Well,
yeah, I'm pretty close to the South, but not particularly Southern, even though I consider myself more Southern fried than most
mhm, mhm.
people in my country. So, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, again, thank you to the father for helping this woman get into some amazing music. Um, but one of the bands that we also have the bond of is Typo Negative, of course, as we did Instagram posts on Typo Negative. Um, how did you find Typo Negative?
You won't believe me. I
Oh,
didn't know
really?
about triple negative for, I guess, all my life. I I started to listen them for 3 years, I guess. Only 3 years, and I just heard them in a video on YouTube, I guess, and just I was interested. Who are they, and why it's so amazing? Just found them and listened to them, and now I'm a big fan for them for I guess 3 years already.
Yeah, like I didn't like fully get into Typo Negative until like 5, 6 years ago, but I've listened to songs years past, but I didn't like listen or have all their music until 4 or 5 years ago when I started
Mm.
buying CDs on the regular, like an insane person, which I swear, one of these days somebody's going to see my collection in person and think, "Sir, you have a problem." And I'd be like, "Oh no, no. I don't have a problem. And if there's an intervention for me, I ain't showing up." But
Same with my
but
merch shirts. Like I have maybe 50 shirts, and yeah, that's a problem, I guess, but not for me.
uh but um But yeah, like Typo Negative just become that band for me. When I'm in the mood for something that's either sad or even sexy or just something hilarious, Typo Negative's that band for me. And I'll even say this just to get this off of my chest. Like a lot of like modern, like upcoming music listeners who are trying to get into metal and say like, "Oh, Sleep Token's the heaviest band in the world," or "They're the most provocative band in the world," and here I am thinking, "Ugh, they need to listen to Typo Negative if they really want that." Or Deftones. Those are the two bands I would say are the ones that, in my opinion, provide the most provocative style, in my personal opinion, and I think they're musically so much better than, say, Sleep Token or
The
this new
60s
band,
music,
President.
definitely.
Yeah, but like I'd love Typo Negative for the fact that Peter Steele, which again, rest in peace. I can't believe he's been gone for 16 years,
Mhm.
um but like the thing I love the most about Typo Negative didn't give a damn who they pissed off, whether it be people on the left, people on the right, or conservatives or liberals, or people who were perverted or people who were prudish. It didn't matter. They left no stone unturned. And I love and respect that about them because, and I would say the perfect song of Typo Negative that perfectly describes them as a whole would be the song We Hate Everyone. Because that
Mm,
musically, you get everything Typo Negative's all about, like the thrashy, punky stuff, but also the slow, doomy, gothic stuff. And then lyrically, it's just basically saying, like, screw everyone who hate us for our hair, screw everyone for wanting to put us down and all this stuff. And it's I love that. Or in the case of like when they get very provocative, it's like if I were to manage to finally find the right woman in my life, the first band I would turn her on to is Typo Negative. Because also it's perfect like dark romance music too. So that also helps too. But then you'll even get some of the saddest stuff you'll hear, especially that album World Coming Down, which is my personal favorite. It's like, my God, it's so damn bleak. But I mean, they're just that band that like even like the diehard metal elitist types who just want to say like, oh, anything that's like overproduced or whatever is not metal. Even they have to say, okay, Typo Negative was amazing. So it's like they're like the one metal band, in my opinion, and to my estimation, that perfectly unites men and women who love metal and gothic music together
yeah,
into wonderful harmony.
perfect music for first date to test your
Absolutely.
girlfriend.
Absolutely. But you got to be careful of which song you choose first.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I probably wouldn't pick My Girlfriend's Girlfriend as the first one. That would be a later one. I would say probably the song Love You to Death would probably be the first pick.
The
Maybe.
most romantic song, yeah.
Yes, I would say. And then if you want to go extra crazy, Be My Druidess would be another good pick for a later time. But I always say that's, in my opinion, the quote unquote sexiest metal song ever.
Definitely.
Um, but getting back into like some of the more modern bands that we talked about, like I know you were a big fan of Lorna Shore. I initially, as I told you before on Instagram, I wasn't a Lorna Shore fan, and I did see them live open for Gojira and Mastodon a few years ago, and I thought they were okay. It's mainly because deathcore as a whole, I am so picky about because I feel a lot of deathcore bands over process everything and it all just kind of comes off as, oh, who can do the most crazy vocals and who can do the slowest breakdowns over and over, and it can get tiring after a while. But after I listened to the new Lorna Shore album, I still have my issues. It's primarily in the production and having too many breakdowns in a single track. Like, just one breakdown is fine, but everything else about it, I grew to love and respect. Well, not love, but grow to respect and enjoy. Like, Will Ramos' vocals, like, I gotta give him his due. He's a hell of a vocalist, even though I still personally feel like he's trying to be like a new version of Travis Ryan from Cow Decapitation, but I will give Will credit. He does it so damn well, it's hard to really dislike it. And then guitar parts, like some
Yeah.
awesome leads and like black metal moments and like technical death metal come in. It's just I just want the breakdowns to be less and the production to be a little more organic. And I'd say if they get that sorted out, I would become a much bigger fan of the band. But definitely with that new album, thanks to you telling me about them, I grew to respect them a little bit more. So I thank
Yeah.
you for that.
They're great, especially their new album, and I'm obsessed with the texts of a few songs. I listen to text, yeah. Maybe I'm strange. I'm not just into music. I'm into texts, and it's very important for me.
Yeah,
So yeah,
lyrics.
they're great.
Um, and then that other band, Orbit Culture. Like, I will admit, like, not the biggest fan of Orbit Culture, but listening to their new album, I definitely hear a lot of potential. Like, I actually like their vocalist. Like, he kind of reminds me of, like, especially when he's singing, not just growling, but when he sings, does kind of remind me a little bit of James Hetfield from Metallica,
Yeah,
just a
he's
little
a
bit.
fan of James Hetfield, honestly.
Yeah,
I was talked with him. I'm talking with him, and he said he's a fan of Metallica from his childhood, and that's why their music a bit common with Metallica. So yeah, that's right.
yeah. I mean, I would definitely say it's a lot more groove forward.
Yeah.
Like definitely with that new album, like there's definitely a lot of groove going on there. I need to check out their earlier stuff because I hear from a lot of their wow, my voice. From a lot of their fans that that's the stuff to get into for this band, not so much the newer stuff in comparison. So I'll definitely have to check out their old stuff because I hear that that was really good. But I just there's just so many bands, so many albums, so many other
So
things to
many.
do. It's it's like it makes you wish that you could not sleep and have all the time in the world to check out everything. But as I even say on my normal videos or other live streams, even if I were to not have a job, not sleep, and just only have access to Wi-Fi, internet, my computer, and somewhere to walk over to get something to eat here and there, and then listen to everything, I still feel like that would only put me up to like 30%. It
Yeah.
is frustrating. It is frustrating because even when I do streams with friends talking about music and I'm be like, I'm not checked this out or I haven't known about this band and they get like, why? And I'm like, you can't hear everything as much as you want to.
I think you don't need to hear everything.
And besides, maybe everything won't be for me, but I try to listen to as much as I can, especially when I do my album reviews on YouTube. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I'll give this a shot. Or, oh, this band's putting out a new album, and I hadn't thought about this band in forever. Like Alter Bridge, for example, who just put out a new album yesterday,
Mhm.
and the review for that's already up on my channel, but that's beside the point there. But yeah, it's like doing YouTube definitely has opened my eyes to so many other bands. Same with Instagram too, which of course that's how you and I began to know each other was through Instagram. But because I've shown you so many bands, so many songs, is there a particular band that I have shown you that you have become a fan of yourself, or like, whoa, how have I not heard this?
Um, Lots of bands you show me. I already knew, and I just didn't know the exact songs, but I knew the band. And I like almost everything you shown me, but hmm, I haven't been a fan of a band, a special band. No,
Who would
they
that
are
band
they're
be?
great, but I'm not a fan of them. But they're cool.
Which band was that? Now I'm curious.
Honestly, I don't remember. Sorry.
Ah, yeah, it's all right. Maybe I'll figure it out one of these days, or maybe not, because knowing how my brain works, I'll probably end up forgetting about it.
No, I'm just
But
saying I'm an old woman, so I can't forget something. I'm sorry.
it's I fall in the same boat too. I'll easily forget something so recent and then be like, "Damn it, how did I forget that?"
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but if I were to personally recommend some bands that I don't think I've shown you yet, I might have, and I just don't remember because I talk to so many people all the time on Instagram. It's hard to keep track at times. But off the top of my head, as far as like bands that I'm not sure if you've heard or you may have heard, but just never dove into them full on, Bloodbath would be one band.
Yeah, I know them.
Awesome. So yeah, Bloodbath, just because in my opinion they're the best supergroup in metal history. Just because, like, I mean, think of the look at the laundry list of bands that have come and gone in Bloodbath: Opeth, Edge of Sanity, Catatonia, Paradise Lost, Hypocrisy, Leak. Hell, even at one point, one of their guitarists, Per Erickson, he actually is still a live member of Ghost. So
Hmm.
you've even had Ghost members in that band. Um, Now I got to look back at my big collection just to even think, because I got a lot. I know nearly 1,700. I know I'm crazy. Um, hmm. There's a lot that I could pick from, but I'm just trying to be particular. Um, what about? Hmm. See, this is where it gets tough because it's like I know your certain tastes, and I'm trying to think of something that might be close to your wheelhouse that I like more. Um,
My taste is very different, so
Very,
I can
very,
listen to
very different.
Slayer and Luna Shore at the same
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I got one. You ever heard of oh, what the hell was that band? Oh, Neon Nightmare.
No, I guess I don't know them.
Okay, that this is a good one because they're new. But the funny thing is, the main guy behind the band, Nate Garrett, was in the death metal band Gatecreeper and has his own band called Spirit Adrift, which is like
Mhm.
doomy classic metal. But he has a new band called Neon Nightmare, which is essentially a tribute to Typo
Uh-huh.
Negative. And it's done really, really, really well. Like it's feels like a missing Typo Negative album. So Neon Nightmare would be a good band for you to check out, especially for and also for those who are watching that may not know Neon Nightmare. Basically, if you love Typo Negative, Black Sabbath, that's the band for you.
Sounds
So that's
interesting.
oh yeah, it's super gothic but super doomy too, and it's so fun. I still need to get that album. Hmm. So Neon Nightmares one. I think I did show you one song from the band Woods of Ypres.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
and that's another band that's very typo negative esque. Uh, it's a shame they're no longer around, but that's another good one. Like I still need to get all their stuff. I only have one album, and it was the last one. um, as far as like death metal bands that kind of inspired deathcore. I don't know. Have you ever checked out Cryptopsy?
Nope, I guess not.
Cryptopsy is a good one, especially because they're from Montreal,
Uh-huh.
which some people kind of say it was like the birthplace of modern deathcore because Despised Icon is from the same area.
Mhm.
And even the guys in Despised Icon would flat out admit without Cryptopsy, there would be no Despised Icon. And also because vocally it's so unhinged that it kind of fits into like say deathcore vocalists like Phil Bozeman from Whitechapel, of course Will Ramos and even some others. But their breakdowns, I can definitely hear where a lot of deathcore bands get their breakdowns from them and Suffocation in particular, which Suffocation, that's another one I would recommend, especially for fans of deathcore that want to get into like old school death metal that have touches of deathcore. Can't do better than Suffocation. After all, they created the slam
Suffocation
riff.
are too famous. I know them, of course. They're cool. They're
Um,
great.
what about Dying Fetus?
I don't think so. I don't know
Well,
them.
that's actually probably one of the other best examples because they are very hardcore driven at times, but super technical too. And the vocals, if you think, say, like Will Ramos was wild for like his gutturals or screams, their vocalist John Gallagher does some of the lowest gutturals you could hear that it almost sounds like he's burping into the microphone. It's so low and nasty. At least early on. Recently, it's not as comical, I guess, but like musically, like especially their breakdowns, again, I can definitely hear where bands like Whitechapel get some of their influence from. Um, so that's four at least off the top of my head, and then one more. Um, Again, I'm just trying to think of something that's close to your wheelhouse, but it's more towards my wheelhouse that I think you would dig. Um, Again, I have to defer to the collection back here. Actually, I brought him up briefly. Gatecreeper. That and they also like are really cool because now they've kind of become more like melodic death metal with the last album. But what makes them cool is it's not just about like straight up death metal the whole time. Like there's some slower, doomy parts, there's some punk to it, there's some hardcore to it, but the vocals are definitely kind of more like mid-range as opposed to going
Mhm.
the whole way.
Mhm.
Um, and also that's where I said that guitarist Nate Garrett came from before he formed Neon Nightmare. Well, he had Spirit Adrift going at the same time, but of course I'll easily send you a song or two on Instagram and take care of that right offhand. But last thing before we wrap up is well, actually a couple things. I think you've told me this before, but just for the audience, do you collect vinyl, CD, cassettes, anything?
No, I collect merch, t-shirts.
That's something at least. That is something at least. And then the last thing before we end this episode, what do you hope to accomplish in 2026 as far as your photo shoots and such? Like, what's your biggest photo shoot dream that you have?
Oh, I guess for all 8 years I do modeling, I always wanted to live somewhere abroad, maybe in Europe, in Germany or in Switzerland, kind of, and doing shooting there for like a job. So maybe I can do this in 2026, but I doubt, but maybe, maybe.
And then, of course, there's always the want to go to see concerts elsewhere. Like you went to, uh, which festival did you go to this past
Uh,
summer? I
I
forget.
visited Summer Breeze.
Summer Breeze, that's what it was. Yeah, like I would love to go to a European festival so bad, but I don't have the money to fly to Europe right now, so maybe
Fortunately,
one day.
I'm gonna go to next festival in 2026 again.
Summer Breeze.
But yeah, no, it will be Rock the Lakes in Switzerland.
Oh, I'll
Yeah,
have to check out and see who's all announced for that festival then.
yeah.
Yeah, to like point out key bands, like you have to check this band out because oh my god, I want to see them so bad. Like when Vader played Summer Breeze, I was like, man, you gotta check out Vader because they're so freaking fast and heavy, man. Like me being the fanboy that I am of music so much, it's like, oh my god, you gotta check this out. Um, but any last words before we end this?
Um, I'm very happy being here and stay metal.
All right, well, hey, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, Nastya. And once again, if you guys want to check out her content, I'll have a link to her Instagram and Patreon in the description box if I can remember to put it on there, because sometimes I end up forgetting and I feel like a jerk. But if I can remember to, I'll have her Instagram and Patreon in the description box for you guys to check out. And as far as what's the future for this show, well, we got some guests potentially lined up in the future. Like very soon, we're looking to have Ufe from Mesro on the show, which that's a band I've shown her. Basically, Metallica meets Testament is musically what I would call them. But also eventually going to get the Grace Brothers from Mutune on the show eventually. Still got the possibility of getting producer Arthur Risk on the show. We're looking to try and do more this year in comparison to the past couple of years. But Horseman podcast, we're looking to get to the 100 episode mark before the end of the year, but it depends on scheduling with not only guests, but also even my other hosts who couldn't be here today. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching. But until next time, as I say at the end of all my videos, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.